guys, what's good? Welcome to another edition of Live Wire Sports Media. This is your Freelance Friday edition. So, I took the day off yesterday to really just take some time just to decompress with everything that's been going on with the NN Fever, Caitlin Clark, and everything else. So, I just needed a little time to myself. And sometimes I think I'm gonna do that probably like once a week, just take a day off and then come back. um, I mean, I could have put out some content yesterday, but I neglected to do it. I just wanted to see what was out there. But then there's a lot of things coming. So the Indiana Fever do play tonight at 7:30 against Stephanie's White former team, the Connecticut Sun. Now we know the Connecticut Sun is built totally different right now. The only person still on that roster from last year is Marina Mabry. But Stephanie won the Indiana Fever. They're coming into tonight's game after losing by 6 points against a little young, tough Washington Mystics team. Now, there has been a lot of questions, a lot of speculation around the Indiana Fever with Caitlin Clark being out, questions about Stephanie White. Is she good for the job? Or why she's doing this? Why she's doing that? And I came across We Need to Talk podcast with Alicia J, Ashley Nicole Moss, and Tanika Foster Braisby. Now they work for CBS, and that's where their podcast is based out of. And they have some very interesting things about what the Indiana Fever need to do and how can they become a team without Caitlin Clark. More so trying to figure out what to do now that Caitlin Clark is not there. And I had said it before, and I have to continue to say it again, is that people don't like the way the Indiana Fever run because it's not to their liking. And they feel like, oh, well, Stephanie White needs to do this, Stephanie White needs to do that, Stephanie White needs to do this. But at the end of the day, it don't matter because the front office hired Stephanie White, the front office, you know, brought in these free agents. Now, some of the free agents that some of y'all don't care for, but me personally, they're part of the team, so I'm gonna support the players. Now, yeah, I will call out certain things that I think the players could be doing better. That's just part of it. But just to be questioning the front office and the coaching is really bad. Now, has Stephanie White made some pretty bad the coaching decisions? Yeah, but you got to understand what she's dealing with. And I will get into more of that after this video. So I'm going ahead and show y'all the clip right now so we won't waste no time.
Coach White said that that was the goal. And for you to be a championship team, you need to be a team without your star player. There's going to be adversity. There are going to be times when Caitlin, like right now, like we see right now, where she is out and you're going to have to rally and be the team that you are without her. Yes, she is a huge star. Yes, not having her is going to make an impact on the team, but you need to know how to operate without her to be a championship team because you never know what's going to happen in the season. And so we saw, kind of what they came out with, and they definitely have some adjustments to make. But this early in the season, this happening earlier rather in the season, I think is really good for them overall because it's going to show them how they need to improve and what they need to do if Caitlin isn't there. And then when Caitlin comes back in, they're a solid team, obviously, that is also looking to make some adjustments to get better. But you need to have it both ways to be able to win a championship.
Tarika, obviously, when a player of this magnitude sustains an injury and that injury keeps them out for an extended period of time, you're always wondering who's next up, who's going to fill that void. So, looking at this Fever team, who is going to fill that void? Is it even possible, or is there a workaround to wait until she, meaning Caitlin, gets back and figure out how the team can adjust in her absence?
Yeah, I don't think that it necessarily needs to be a particular person to fill a void, right? Like basketball is a team sport. And so it's going to take a few different key pieces and key things in order to fill a void. I mean, if you think about their matchup last night, some things stood out to me without having Clark on the floor. Number one, their pace of play was impacted, right? They had zero fast break points, which is typically how they beat you. And keep in mind, I got a chance to cover Stephanie White for a few years as coach of the Connecticut Sun. So I know Steph loves to play quick, and her not being able to do that is going to be an adjustment. So whoever fills in at point guard, whether that continues to be Sydney Colson or whether that's Sophie Cunningham, whoever that is, they're going to have to understand that they need to pick up the pace. I think another key note is, they have more turnovers than assists, 16 to 15. That's not a Caitlin Clark issue per se. That's a team issue. Keep the ball better, right? That was a season low for the Fever because we know how well Caitlin Clark loves to dish the basketball. So they're going to have to work on their sharing. Shot percentage was low, 40% from the field. And also defense was bad. I'm not blaming that on Caitlin Clark either, on her absence. Just saying you have to make an effort in other places when you're missing someone critical to your offense like a Caitlin Clark. And Kelsey Mitchell said it last night. She said, sometimes you got to have games like this to get a good idea of where you are. Same point that Alicia is making. I don't think this Fever team is going to suck without Caitlin Clark. I truly don't. I think they're too good. They have too many veteran players. I think about a DeWanna Bonner who came off the bench last night, had 21 points for him with 2 steals and 4 boards. So clearly they have the ability to make the offense work. They will win some games. But again, it is really just a litmus test right now of where they are without their star. And it's going to take a bevy of them to come together to kind of make up for it. Not necessarily one person is going to have to feel that. I want to.
All right, so you listen to what they had to say, and I honestly, I mean, I'm not a fan of Alicia J, but I do agree with it was talked about. The team has to figure out their identity without Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark commands so much from the team. I mean, there was another podcast also from the Athletic. They was talking about the same thing. And this is where I caution people. I tell people that you cannot always blame the coach because there's enough blame to go around for everybody. Stephanie White didn't account for Caitlin Clark to be injured from preseason until now. Then she already had Sophie Cunningham injured as well. So she was relying on going into the season healthy and running off. If Sophie never got hurt in preseason, Caitlin never got hurt. She probably was hurt doing training camp, and they just probably pushed to it. If she wasn't hurt from training camp and Sophie wasn't hurt, I I do believe the team would have been running off to the races. But see, when you have now that the team is facing adversity, this is the time for the team to come together. To understand. Now, there was an interesting take that I had liked because I do agree, because I said it before. When I had watched the game, I watched the one to bring the ball up. And I said, well, why not allow her to bring the ball up? Why not allow Sophie? Now, a lot of people say, well, Sophie is not a ball handler. Well, when you getting pressure 94 feet, it's going to affect your ball handling a little bit. And Leo Boston doesn't set the best screens. You know what I'm saying? To allow Sophie come out. We don't seen Sophie Cunningham bring the ball up. To me, like I said before, in the New York game, what was working for them to win that game was you had Caitlin on the floor, you had DeWanna Bond on the floor, you had Sophie Cunningham, you had Lexi Hall, and you had Aaliyah Boston on the floor. That should have won you the game. Come to the Washington Mystics game, you had DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hall, Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston. Kelsey Mitchell is pretty much taking Caitlin Clark's spot. You have 5 ball handlers on the floor. Leah Boston, as well. You have 5 ball handlers on the floor. It will make it very difficult for the defense to really gauge on who it is. So Kelsey Mitchell is the most get downhill person there is. She leads the NBA of going downhill, getting to the bucket. You know, we don't want Kelsey Mitchell to run the point, but she could dribble drive and kick out, something that the Indiana Fever has been missing. and finding open shots, finding other people, finding, Leah Boston. Leah Boston's pick and roll is non-existent now because Caitlin Clark is not there, and that's where most of the things that they have to find, look for. Now they have to figure out a way because I don't think you could rely on going into a game with a starting lineup with Sid Colston at as a point. Now you could bring her in, you could bring her in sporadically, but you don't want her to start the game off because she doesn't run the offense. There was a play that she had a screen and she neglected not to use the screen and tried to go between two defenders and she got hung up in the air and the ball turned the ball over. Now there was one play they did good. They ran the read and react offense, and guess what? They was able to run a set play with Aaliyah Boston, and they found a back door to Sid Colston, and Sid Colston kick it to the corner to Lexi Hall for a three. They have shown a glimpse of what they can do, but nevertheless, is what they need to do. They need to trust each other because Caitlin Clark is not on floor. So that's what I think the main issue is they not trusting each other enough and believing in each other. And that's where you started getting a hero ball from Kelsey Mitchell. You get Leo Boston looking lost, and then you get the rest looking undecided to make decisions because Caitlin Clark made those decisions easier for them. Now, I want y'all to listen to Lexi Hall and what she had to say.
The right direction for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, defenses play is different without Kaylin out there. So we're just trying to, figure out what our best looks are, and it's going to be a learning process. It feels a little bit like we're starting over with a different group because everything's a little bit different without her out there. But we're excited about the opportunity to have everybody step up. We talk about being deep and being able to rely on all of our players to go out there and impact the game in a positive way. You mentioned the bad.
So, and they understand that teams are going to approach them differently without Caitlin Clark, quite naturally. But I don't think this team is that far off to being so disconnected and everything, where where you have to figure out, well, what we need to do. Stephanie White have to use the best lineup, and to Stephanie White's credit, she's still figuring it out too. This is a whole brand new team, and everything it has to be instant, like making oatmeal or making grits or cooking eggs. It has to be quick. No, it doesn't go that way. And people need to stop rushing to judgment and bashing the front office and bashing the coaching staff because it's not to their liking or they have a better solution than what they do. We not in the locker room. We just out here just seeing it and commentating and bringing, saying how we feel and what's, what I'm saying. But when you sitting out there bashing the coaching staff and you're not supporting the team, when they really need the support the most, it's kind of what are you wanting? There is no team that I have ever watched or seen put together have instant success. Not even the LeBron James Miami Heat team had instant success. Didn't at all. We seen how it was when Tom Brady went to Tampa. It was an instant success. Everybody thought it, boom. They ran a bad offense. And then guess what? They changed in the second half of the season after their break. We have seen the Indiana Fever. A lot of people say, hey, the Indiana Fever second half of last year's season was all because of Caitlin Clark. People came down or whatever. And they thinking that, the front office got in Stephanie White's ear and made her do this and make her do that. No, they trust Stephanie White. Kelly don't trust Stephanie White. They've been there with Stephanie. Stephanie White been there with them. So they trust her. They know what she can do. The front office is not going to always step in. They're going to allow the coach to do the coaching job. If we was at 20 games into the season and Stephanie White was doing really horrible, I think this front office would have stepped in. Or 15 games in, I think the front office would step in. I think they allowed Stephanie White to figure out this team. The thing about it is you got new parts. The only parts that's there still is Caitlin, Lexi, Mitchell, and Boston. Everybody else new. They stripped the whole organization down from top to bottom and had to rebuild it. And you really think that this is going to be an instant hit? It's like going into the record booth and trying to make us make a hit song, and you thinking in your mind it's a hit, but in reality it's not. We have to show time. We have to give this team grace, and we have to give this team patience. Now, yeah, it's going to be crucial for them to win tonight. Mm. But it won't be surprising if they lose because I know what the team looks like. But they have to continue to grow and find their way. And I think they will have a better energy tonight. I think they will have a sense of urgency tonight. I think I think they will figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. To me personally, I will love to see her play Bree Turner and Tipson more. They have to utilize everybody on this roster. They can't just say, "Well, this person don't need to be there. This person needs to go. This person this need to go." No, they need to utilize everybody on this roster right now with Caitlin Clark out because that's the only way they're gonna figure out how to use defense and offense. Their defense ain't looking good, you know. I don't think their defense show flashes here and there when they was the number one defense in the start of the season, but now they probably not even that now because of the droppers, and they had to figure out. I don't think the utility of Sig Holston is valuable because you need to have her in there. I think she should come in with I think she should come in with Kelsey Mitchell going out to get a breather. I don't think she needs to run the point or whatever because you don't have somebody to really give um what's the Kelsey Mitchell a break. Speaking of Kelsey Mitchell now, I'm a huge Kelsey Mitchell fan. I love Kelsey Mitchell, but she has to understand she cannot play hero ball with to help this team win. That's not how they did it the second half of the season last year. This is not how they're gonna do it this year. They really need to understand that hey, we need to use everybody. We need to kick out pass. You got shooters out there. You got to take more chances shooting threes. Lexi Hall got hot in the Washington game that she only end up with 9 points. We got to find ways to get Sophie Cunningham open to hit threes, running downhill, backdoor cuts. We got to free up DeWanna Bonamore. We got to utilize Natasha Howard a little bit better. We got to definitely get AB involved. We have to get AB involved to get touches. When she gets going, that helps out so much with everybody else. That's why her and Caitlin Clark connection in the pick and roll is so valuable. Now you don't have that. Now you have to figure out ways how to get that. But guess what? Now you could utilize different ways to do it. You could utilize different ways to do it. So my guess is that tonight I, it should be a better. I don't. Connecticut Sun is not really a good team. They play hard. They fight hard. But I still think the Fever has enough on this team to get the job done. They have to want it to get it done. They cannot spiral away, just to be like, well, we don't have Caitlin. What we should do? No, you got to figure it out. You know, and then if you don't figure it out, then it's going to be bad on the looking bad on the coach and say, oh well, she don't know what she's doing because she can't figure out. She got all these veterans and what they doing. No, that's not the case at all. And I just feel like everybody just need to relax. There's no time to panic. It's no time to panic at all. We need to really sit back and understand that, hey, this is what it is. This is how it's going to be. And we have to come to grips with it and allow this team to gel in a different way. This is going to be a great experience for this team to really understand who they really are without Caitlin Clark on the floor. So we'll see how it goes tonight. I will be, I will do, like I said, I will be going live at 7:15 today. I definitely will be having a special guest, and I also will be doing a post-game analysis after the game. And late night tonight, I will be working on a special video because there was something very interesting I come across, and it might be, it could be, it might be. So I'll let y'all wonder about that. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. This is Live Wire Sports Media. This is your Freelance Friday edition. Happy Friday to everyone. Looking forward to see you at 7:15 because this probably will be my only video unless something astronomical comes out and I have to drop a video beforehand. But until then, if not, see you at 7:15. Live Sports Media. You know what it is, because if you don't know, now you know.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying.